It's so simple. I think life is hard and Mary Kay is simple. I've always said that. And I didn't really understand what it fully meant. But the older I get, the more I really understand what it fully means. You guys, Mary Kay is simply finding a need and filling it. I mean, that's the simplest way I can think to define it. And when you're others focused, you look for their need. And then I can't think of a better way to fill it than through Mary Kay, either with the product or with the opportunity, the friendship. I know many of the seeds that we plant don't come back to us. That's just the law of the universe, you know, God's law. What you cast upon the waters comes back. And we plant seeds every day. I plant so many seeds every single day. And some of them do come back to me from the seed I planted. But most of the time, the reciprocation comes in a way that I really didn't deserve or even understand how it came back to me, right? I was talking with my Swiss directors this morning because it's 7 hours later there. And we did our area awards Saturday night there. And it was just so wonderful. And if you stop and think about the power of one, how this really worked, from one referral. I did a skincare class in Kerrville, Texas, 14, 15 years ago. A little lady sitting at the table, Marcella Suter. She listened to me. She fell in love with the product. She bought the skincare set. And she said, you remind me of my daughter. I think my daughter would be great in Mary Kay, but she lives in Switzerland. Do y'all sell in Switzerland? And I said, I don't know, y'all. I never even dreamed of getting out of my house, much less out of my town. I just wanted to be a work from home mama. And through that led to Brenda Suter, who became a consultant in Switzerland. And today, you know, just to give you an idea of what's led from that all of these years, one referral, one person in a country where they really didn't even know what Mary Kay was. And when someone tells you they use a natural product, that means they leave their moisturizer in the refrigerator and it spoils in a couple of weeks. When they say all natural, they are not an easy market. You've got to know the ingredients, the product. You have to have a really quality product or you're not going to make it there. But the good thing too about them is they're loyal. Once you earn loyalty, earn trust, then they are loyal to you. So we've built a strong residual business in Switzerland. And today I had as many all-stars in Switzerland as I had in America. Isn't that amazing? So my guess, my first commercial is never underestimate the power of one, the one more phone call, the one follow-up, that one business card. And I believe it is my joy in my job to connect. And I believe we were created for communion. And I don't know of a better way to commune with someone than Mary Kay. Jesus gathers his disciples around the table and they broke bread to build relationship and trust. And the stories, we tell the stories just as he did. He taught in story form, and that's what passed it on. And he said, you will be greater than I. And I believe Mary Kay Ash did the same thing. She understood the power of gathering people around the table and breaking open moisturizer and lipstick and telling the story, her story. Our history is her story, then our story, and then how it could apply to their story, the power of the story. And it is so simple. And then through listening to their needs, whether it's somebody like me with oily, acne-prone skin, when I started, I couldn't imagine being an image consultant in my wildest dreams because I was not the image. Oh, my word. But I wanted to have better skin. We all do. And so just finding that need and filling it, okay? And I want to start off by reading something that spoke to me ever since I've read it. And this defines the way I feel about my Mary Kay business. And if you Google Master in the Art of Living, you can find it. It's James A. Michener is the author. He's an American author, but you can find it. And it says, the master in the art of living makes little distinction between his work and his play, his labor and his leisure, his mind and his body, his information and his recreation, his love and his religion. He hardly knows which is which. He simply pursues his vision of excellence at whatever he does, leaving others to decide whether he's working or playing. To him, he's always doing both. Am I working or worshiping right now? I don't know the difference. And I think, God created a day of rest, right? In 6 days he created the earth, and then he rested on the seventh, and the Sabbath is our day of rest. But I believe every day is a day of worship. I think we created the day of worship. And so if we look at our life and our Mary Kay, I think the joy of the Lord is our strength. I used to say happiness is a choice, but happiness is circumstantial. But joy is not. Joy can be consistent because the joy of the Lord. And that's why a couple of years ago, I just decided that I am unoffendable. It's a wonderful affirmation. It's impossible of the flesh, but it is possible of the spirit. And I also decided years ago that the unoffendable was a new affirmation. And it came from a source of pain. You can't be embarrassed. No one can embarrass you. You have to take that on, and no one can offend you. Hurting people hurt, and that's your choice to drink it in. Or really, you can just say, apparently they must have not understood what I said, or they're in a place of pain. But I have to choose. I think of it like Star Trek, that I can put up my force field and the Klingons will bounce off. And then I can lift my force field and go about my day. But I can choose to put my force field down. I actually play a game with myself and I pretend like it's a button at the top of my head. So if I scratch the top of my head when you're talking to me, you may be being negative, just saying, because I just put up my force field and it doesn't penetrate my heart. But those qualities and the never be disappointed, it started early in my business. And for those of you that are consultants on team leaders, elite team leaders, future directors now, and directors, seniors, executive, future executive, elites, and now we have national sales directors even on today with us. That's always been part of my success strategy. And that came from the scripture, guard your heart, it's the wellspring of life. Because I am easily hurt. I used to be easily hurt, easily disappointed, so fragile, just a fragile young woman. And I think the greatest gift of this Mary Kay journey is who we become. And I am not fragile today. I am one of the strongest people mentally, spiritually, emotionally, financially. I'm strong in all areas of my life, but it's a muscle that had to be developed. And I think many of you, Stacy and I are best friends, and most of you know my story, but for the consultants on, if you don't, I had a colorful childhood, and I had to learn to be a victim or a victor, bitter or better. And I chose victory since I was a little girl. And Jesus found me. I didn't find him when I was a little girl. And that was just a gift. And so I've just walked with him my whole life. Imperfectly, we're all filthy rags against his righteousness. And he came for the sinner, not the saint. So don't get caught up in what it coulda, woulda, shoulda. Dean tells me every day, baby, the rear view mirror is little and the windshield is big. Quit looking back. Look forward. Yesterday is history and tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift, and that's why they call it the present. And right now we're August 24th, okay? We're 1 month and 24 days in the new seminar year. Praise the Lord, we had twice as nice, because that set us up. Whether it was $1 or $20K if you're a director, or one to recruit, or 6, whatever you had, you got set up. We got a jump start in this new seminar year. So embrace it. That was a huge gift. And even though it's not, quote, real, it's still real on the scoreboard, okay? It's real, baby. It's kind of like when you have an offspring sales director this year, that $25K will count toward your end of the year results. What if you had 5 offsprings this year? That's $100K. Understand? So all the things Mary Kay gives us that they offer us as bonuses, sometimes you just suck them in like a Hoover, like a vacuum cleaner. You take it because you're now set up. And some of you, maybe July wasn't record breaking, or maybe your August isn't, whatever. It doesn't really matter. You can shift on a dime. I can promise you that. You can shift on a dime. And a gold medal is a cure-all for everything. So it's always going to be the new and the few. That's just the way it is. And it's just life. It's not anything a reflection of your leadership or Mary Kay. To be an entrepreneur, to want more and to be willing to do more, unfortunately, can be uncommon. I think it's in our spirit when we're born. We're born to get back up. We're born to learn to walk and talk. no matter how many times we fall down, we get back up, we get back up. But life happens, and life isn't fair, and it isn't easy, and we can become jaded, and we can become like the elephant that's chained to the stake when it's a baby and can't pull away. But when it's a full grown, big, bad elephant, could rip that stake up in 2 seconds. But it was conditioned, and the elephant never breaks the conditioning. But we as humans, we have the breath of the Holy Spirit poured into us. We can break any generational curse or pain or situation in a day. It's just a choice. And so I hope and pray that just the message today will help you realize that no matter where you come from, I have a high school education. I'm super proud of that. Tammy that's on has a master's degree in social work. 2 of my offspring directors have doctorate degrees. I'm proud and happy for education. My 3 boys are college educated. I wanted to give them the opportunity I wasn't given. But guess what? Once you get the piece of paper, people, it's what you do with it. And I believe I have a PhD of people, hard work, and determination. And somehow, by God's grace and my grit, this has worked out. So that's on the emotional side. I work on that every day. I love Darren Daly. I love Dr. Henry Cloud. I've been listening to my praise music. I love that my TV is, I just love all this new, I have all this Sonos system in my whole house. I can rock my house out with music. And I turned it off because it's distracting. But my TV screen, because Apple TV, it's beautiful pictures of downtown. And it makes me so happy because I never turn the TV on during the day ever. And I wouldn't at night either, but Dean likes TV. So, but I can't, Cindy Williams, I'm so easily distracted that I have to stay in my own lane. So really honestly be thinking of yourself today. You know, how are you going to trim the vine to produce more fruit? It's not working harder, you guys. It's trimming away the distractions. And to thine own self be true. Some people can write do their homework with the radio blaring music. I'm just saying, Cindy Williams, I cannot. There's no way. I have to have no distractions because I'm squirrel. I'll follow the trail. So look around your surroundings. And I sit right here in my living room because I can see the water. I'm looking at the Galveston Bay water. And my spirit soars in here. That office in the back room, I'm never going to go in there again. I just set it up. I even bought a whole new dining room set that I can hide. It's got drawers and shelves underneath it, and it's bar height because I like sitting up higher to adjust to this new virtual climate so that I'm happy in my environment because then I'm more productive. But also we have dinner every night so I can quickly move everything and put it in this table. I found a table that kind of serves as a desk too. That's a simple thing, but for my life, it wasn't. That's something that helped me be more productive and more effective. Okay. And so the size of your customer base will determine your selling. Okay. The size of your team will determine your love check and how quickly you move into DIQ and through DIQ into directorship. The size of your unit will determine the circle of. It's not the best, most smartest, awesomest director that wins. It's the one with the most people. So get that out of your head that you're doing something wrong. You just got to have more people. And then my key to that is you launch hard. Man, you launch so hard. You launch hard and then you kind of let go. That's my spirit. That's what I've done my whole career. That brand new person, I'll give you an example of Ginger Benedict. I was on a top director trip. She came into my unit through another consultant, and she placed a big order, and I'm ding, ding. She's on my radar screen. So, but I wasn't even in the country. She did that. So anyway, I got back to the country and I called her and I said, I'm coming to see you. And she was like, well, I don't really need you to come. She has a doctorate degree and she'd only done Mary Kay as a tax write-off. She said, I'm doing just fine. I said, I know you're doing fine, but it's part of my responsibility as your sales director is to come and work with you. And she just laughed and said, well, where will you stay? And I said, well, I'll just stay with you. And she says, well, I have 3 kids. And I said, well, I love kids. I was just telling you, I was beast mode. And she did not want me to come, but I knew she was amazing. And how many amazing women really come through our lives? And I got there and she had her next door neighbor, LaDawn, and she was like 100 years old and she fell asleep during the facial because she didn't invite anybody to come because she didn't want this crazy Mary Kay lady introduced to her friends. She's a doctor at a university. And so, but I didn't listen to any of that. I'm just saying, you guys, I know what my job was, to influence the influencers, to win over her husband, to win over her children, and the few friends I could get in front of. Because if they are naysayers on her spirit, I'm not going to win. And just last week, it was such a great training by Darren Daly on the selling. If you listen to that, it was so good about how he sold his wife. He said, my greatest sell was to sell her on saying yes to me. But first he went and made friends with her brothers and her mother. And then he went to her father and asked him for her hand in marriage before he ever asked her. And it made me think of Mary Kay. That's exactly how I worked. I sold the husband. I sold the daughter. So however you can influence the influencers is a big dog deal. And then we did go gather up some more people, and we held some parties, people, because I knew that was the only way that I could invest in her. And today, she will become a national sales director this year. And she's amazing. But it took a leader going to her. Sometimes we're going to miss good people, you guys, because we listen to what they say. When she's of integrity, when you dig her spirit, you feel her energy, you go see her. And with COVID, if it's not possible to physically be there, you be there. You get her friends together and you do a closed Facebook party. You do a Zoom, whatever it takes. You FaceTime with her husband. You talk to her kids. You mail her kids presents. I never went to a director's house that I didn't have presents for those kids, because even if it was jelly beans I bought in the airport they got those little sugar shacks. Not that I recommend sugar, but in the day, whatever, I went in the door bearing gifts because it was a part of my mojo. You look up gifts in your concordance in the Bible, and it says the person bearing gifts is received well. It ushers you into the presence of the King. So those little things along the way, I just wanted to share and talk to you about, because size matters in this business, okay? You can be the most awesome director in the whole world, the most awesome woman in the whole world, but if you only have 10 customers, you're not going to be an all-star. And if you only have 10 unit members, you're probably not going to drive a car. So let's just focus in the reality, and it is our responsibility to grow the team. You're the coach, and not only can you recruit players to play on the field, you can go and play on the field. And don't put the best player out to pasture. Game on. And it's also your greatest joy is to teach and mentor and train those people. And then another thing I wanted to share is, how do we handle adversity? Life isn't fair and it isn't easy. Like what happened Thursday night. I'm going to tell you guys, when seminar didn't come on, I was frantic. For all of the 67,000 that were waiting with bated breath, we had 815 in our Victory family registered for seminar waiting with bated breath. And I sat here and I got more and more afraid. I never got mad. I didn't even get frustrated. I'm unoffendable and I'm undisappointable. But I started hurting for corporate and hurting for the people in the field, because I know how much we need seminar, how much we need each other. I know it's not just important, it's vital. All of my dreams were birthed at seminar. And we will never be able to estimate the loss of people not catching a dream. We'll never see evidence of that. So I was praying, I was heartbroken. And immediately the next morning, before we ever got Laura's message or anything, I started telling my directors, send Nathan Moore an email that, we know what they're going through, you and your staff, that you did everything in your power to support us right now, that we know it's devastating. And thank you for creating the hand sanitizer so we stayed essential. Thank you for creating new products, even if we're limited. That new lip gloss, I'm telling you, it's from the ocean. Where is it? I keep it with me. I love it. I love that ballerina pink. If you don't like that ballerina pink, you can send me one, because I only can get two. One is a national one that I let me order, and I'm crazy about it. I have it on. And so, but just to the heart of accepting it, we can't, they did everything in their power. They were devastated, and they're corporate. We get disappointed. Their jobs could be on the line, because that's huge, you guys. But when they saw the love that we gave, that's God's plan, y'all. That's agape. That's truly go give. You cannot be golden rule of the flesh. It's impossible. But of the spirit, if we really take on the armor of Christ, if we really read, I think it's Luke. Tammy always knows exactly the scripture. But if you look up, it says if someone takes your coat, you say, oh, here, have my shirt too. Really, people? There's no way. Get that dang coat back of the spirit, of the flesh. But God is telling us something at a level we cannot get it without him helping us, without our Holy Spirit. And so, yes, in my top 5 is positivity and empathy. It is my nature, but it's also my nurture. It's this environment for 38 years of watching other people, how they react. When somebody takes your customer, well, you don't own the customer, guys. Loyalty is earned. Somebody takes your recruit. I really never worried about it or fought over it. I just thought, what, it's there's so many women out there in so little time, and men. We have a few really good men in Mary Kay, but I say little baby girls are born every day and women are living longer. Business is good and only getting better. I never look at what I've lost. That's the scarcity mentality. I only look at the abundance and the possibilities, and that guarded my heart, which is the wellspring of life. And then number 2, gain wisdom, though it costs you all you have. Be a packman for knowledge and for learning and for growing. And whoever trips your trigger, like I did Dr. Henry Cloud, which I wouldn't have known about without Stacy. And I love Simon Sinek. I think it was B. Millslegel that introduced me to Simon the first time, National Sales Director. And I love Dr. Caroline Leaf. And it was Amy G. that introduced me to Dr. Caroline Leaf because of what she went through with her daughter. So we all are a part of a tapestry, of a weaving. I love the movie Avatar, the home tree. We're all a part. We're one body with many parts. I think that whole movie was about Jesus, but that's just my opinion. And just speaking of, how 2 became 1 under the tree of Yahweh, Dean and I are getting married September 26th. And I'm the happiest person in the world. And if you don't believe that in miracles and that God's a God of restoration, that all he's taken from you will be restored 100-fold, then you just watch my silly little life, because I am living my greatest dream and my greatest life. And I will tap it out. I promise you that, till I go home to meet my maker. And another thing I want to read that's also totally spoke to me and changed my life is this. It's by Charles Bernard Shaw. George Bernard Shaw. And it says, this is the true joy in life, being used for a purpose, recognized by yourself as a mighty one, being a force of nature instead of a feverish, selfish little clod of ailments and grievances, complaining that the world will not devote itself to making you happy. I'm of the opinion that my life belongs to the whole community. And as long as I live, it is my privilege to do for it what I can. I want to be thoroughly used up when I die. For the harder I work, the more I live. I rejoice in life for its own sake. Life is no brief candle to me. It's a sort of splendid torch, which I have got a hold of for the moment. And I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it on to future generations. So I love to teach and train. I love being a beauty consultant. I'm still a star consultant. Y'all know that. I won my pink bicycle last quarter. This quarter, I want that little cradle. I keep my phone in this little cradle, but there's a cradle on the star consultant brochure that charges it at the same time, because I'm always having to charge my dang phone. And so that's what I want for this star prize. As silly as that is, I just got my plaque for $9 million. In Mary Kay, but I'm still a beast about my star prizes. And not everybody understands that, but it's my win. You got to find your win. Find your win. You don't have to justify it, explain it to anybody. It relaxes me. Y'all drive me crazy sometimes being a leader. But Mary Kay, being a consultant, that's simple. My neighbor, I love to sell repair, and I don't even have to facial people. I rarely facial anybody anymore. I just sell them the box. They trust me. I look good. I believe in it. I think that's the best thing in the whole wide world. Then you add the glycolic acid pill, whatever they call it, and that deep wrinkle filler, and then some charcoal mask and the biocellulose mask. And the things I love is what I sell. Like, I know everybody else likes that moisture gel mask, whatever, the one you leave on overnight, but I don't like that one, so I don't sell much of it. You see what I mean? Your power, not that it's not a delicious product. I'm just saying, your passion, what you truly believe in, and you speak with confidence. It's not pushy, it's passion. It's not attracting I mean, it's not attacking, it's attracting. And if you do it right, people feel honored, they're flattered. It's like flirting. You love to flirt. People love to be flirted with. We're a flirt. We're naturally flirt. Booking's flirting with a girl. You catch her eye. You smile and nod. You exchange compliments. You get her name and number. You book her for her first date. Hope she has a second date. And then she marries you and she sticks with you forever and ever. I think booking is flirting with a girl, right? And we love to be romanced. If you do it right, and I'll give you an example. Let's say Amy Kittrell is one of my customers, and she's coming by to pick up her moisturizer today. Or maybe I'm delivering it on her doorstep, and I call her back. It doesn't matter anymore. Or even if I shipped at CDS, I would call and say, Amy, did you get your moisturizer? Thank you so much for using Mary Kay. I'm so proud of you for investing in your skin, especially with all those boys, all the responsibilities that you have in your life, that you take the time to take care of you is the best gift you can give your kids. It means you value yourself. And that's being a great mama. So I salute you for that. And Amy, you know, I've asked you 100 times. I would love to work with you. I'd be so honored to have you on my team. I'd swim the ocean to walk beside you in this business. And I know you've told me no 100 times. And if you ever tell me to quit asking, I'll stop. But what do you think? You want to give it a whirl? You ready to make a little extra money, a little side hustle, have a tax deduction, and have fun with me? See, I can say it in a way that it honors Amy. And she's going to say, no, don't quit asking me, because we like to get the wolf whistle across the street if we ever get it anymore. It's not insulting. Hell, at 64, it's the greatest thing that could happen to me all day. So don't be worried about being pushy, because pushy people never worry about it. They don't even think about it. They don't have a filter to even know when they're being offensive. We have a filter. It's called discernment. But if you are lukewarm, I will spew you out of my mouth. Passion is not pushy. I can promise you this. I ask everybody that I like, but I also have a strong sense of discernment. I can spot goofy a mile away, and I don't want goofy in my life. And I even tell my hostesses, I would say, Patty Rose, I'm so excited about coming to your house Saturday morning, or I'm so excited about our virtual Facebook group Saturday night. And I know you've told me that you're working on inviting a couple of your friends. I just have one request. Please only invite awesome people. I cannot do goofy anymore. So if they get on your nerves, they're going to get on my nerves. So please just invite some awesome people. And also remember that we want some people to gather. The more people there, the more free stuff I can give you, the more chances I have to build my business and to sell them on this product and this career opportunity. So how many of you got that have said a confirmed yes so far? And let's double that. I mean, I'm just going to coach her, but I'm going to say no goofy. And I'll just say, Patty, the only thing I don't love about Mary Kay is cancellations. I'm going to work my whole Saturday to be beautiful, be prepared, be ready for you Saturday night. I would never cancel on you at the last minute, and I know you wouldn't do that to me either. I mean, I'm firm with my coaching, but in a way that they understand that I value my time and I value her time too. So I'll quit talking and open it up for maybe a few questions that y'all have on specifics. But I think if you decide that the size of your customer base, the size of your team, the size of your unit, your commitment to All-Star, I mean, that's all we named our national area the All-Star area. Your commitment to take advantage of Twice as Nice, look at where you are, and to make Seminar 2021 the best year of your life. It's my final seminar, and I can promise you we're going to bring it. I believe we're going to break records. God spoke to me last October and said, Cindy Williams, you came into this company breaking records as a DIQ, and you're going to go out breaking records. And I really believe that we will. I believe that was his message, not mine. And I promise I'm going to suit up and show up and do my best in my imperfection. Just so you know, too, I drive a lot of my people crazy because I have no strategy. I don't plan. So my real right brain and strategic and analytical, critical thinkers, you know, they look at somebody like Pam Shaw, I'm sure, and think, wow, wouldn't that be great? But I was assigned to them and they were assigned to me. This makes me cry. And if I compare myself to anybody else, I get discouraged. So you run in your lane, use your gifting. DNA stands for do not argue with your creator. Okay, do not argue. He made you like you are. And you will be what your people need because they're exposed to all these other people too. I tell Dean, You know, if he sees a good looking woman, awesome, get excited and bring it home, whatever it takes. You know, I'm not jealous at all because he's loyal to the death, and I am too. And I'm kind of a natural flirt, you know, but he knows that it's just because it's entertaining to me. I adore him with every inch of my mind, body, and soul. And so I'll just stop and just, if you have any questions or comments for me, y'all can open it up. And also thank you to I have a few of my people on. I asked Stace if they could listen in too. So thank y'all and you know, they don't have to comment because this is y'all's talk, but we make each other better, me and Stacy. Y'all know that as iron sharpens iron. And us racing for number one, I think y'all remember this. It was career conference a couple of years ago, and Stacy was in the audience, and she wasn't there as official. She had just come up to Dallas to be there with her people. And I was on the stage on that Friday night, and I didn't want to talk about going for number one because Stacy was in the audience. And she could feel it because her discernment's high. And she called me Saturday on her way home, and she said, Cindy Williams, I could feel your hesitation. And she used the word I never forget. She said, you were feeling wonky, or you were acting wonky, W-O-N-K-Y. I'd never heard that word. And she said, when you run for number one, there's nothing that's going to make me and my people better. When you're better, you make me better, as iron sharpens iron. And we will have none of that. She was like, we will have none of that. And that was the end of that. And then we could teach the whole Mary Kay world how you run towards a goal, not to beat anybody, but to be your best. And when you're your best, you raise the bar. Rising waters raise all boats. So that helped me clear it up. Because of the spirit and of the flesh, I couldn't say that in front of my friend. But that was wonky. When you have a true relationship with your man, with your team, with your people, you're vulnerable. So I hope y'all will remember that too. You want to be your best, and you want to go for the number one. It doesn't matter. It's because it's bringing out the best in everybody. Okay?
Yay. Okay, so so if anybody wants to shout out or ask a question, maybe put it in the chat. Cindy, while people are doing that, will you, I don't know why, but I feel like someone needs to hear about when you going after DIQ, how Jackie said, just get there. You're not, because you were afraid to.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. For the consultants, Claire, y'all, no one has ever worked with more fear than me. Okay. Just so you know. So when I was a consultant, I was never going to be a sales director ever, because I loved being a consultant. Why would I want to take on the responsibility of sales meetings and looking pretty all the time and talking right? I don't know. It just freaked me out. I was not very glamorous. So I didn't even, the whole image was freaking me out. And so there was a director that made me mad. I was the top of the food chain. I had my future director pin back then. That was the top one, because I had 8 recruits. Because I always was if you're going to live in Consultantville, live at the top. Your director's going to love you. I had my red jacket. I was a star consultant, and I was the top. I didn't want the pin that said DIQ. I didn't want to be a director in qualification, but I wanted to be a top consultant. And I was that my whole Mary Kay first year and a half. Then this director came on, my director, and she looked at me and she said, and when do you want to be a director, honey? And I said, I don't want to be one of those. And she said, well, how many recruits do you have? And I said, I have 8. See my pin? And she said, well, you don't have enough people. You don't even have enough people to be a director. So how would you know if you wouldn't like it or not? And I'm not going to waste my time talking to you. I'm going to go talk to somebody with a goal to move up. And I'm telling you, I stood there like in shock, because Jackie Swank has got to be the kindest, sweetest, affirming person on the planet. And this director was rude to me. And as she walked away that day, I said, well, I'll show you. I'll go get the numbers, and I still won't do it. The God is my witness. And I left that workshop, and I got my first gold medal in January. And then in February, I went into DIQ. And at DIQ, at a training class when I was in DIQ, one of the staff members talked about family. I sobbed through the whole class, cried my eyes out, because what I heard was, if you want to have healthy, happy, confident kids, you better give them a healthy, happy, confident mama. And I was really a hot mess. My mom was married 7 times. Changed schools every year, colorful childhood, really codependent if you grew up in an alcoholic environment. And so I knew that my kids I would continue that spirit of victimhood if I didn't change. And so all of a sudden, he said, if you broke a company record, you could have anybody come speak at your debut. And I went, oh my God, I'll go home and break a record. I'll have that guy come talk to my husband, the way he just talked to me about family, it'll change my marriage, it'll change my family, it'll change my future. And then I still won't be a director, because I didn't want to be a director. I just wanted that guy to come meet my husband. And so that's a gospel true story. Here I was, I left that workshop with my 8 little recruits, and 3 months later we had 56. And we broke 2 company records as a DIQ. We did 50-something thousand wholesale in 3 months back in 1983. And then here's the message there. And this is what Claire wants me to share with you. The whole idea of what a director was, I was afraid of. The responsibility and all that. But when you build the team, you're the shepherd of your sheep, and the sheep know the shepherd's voice. I had changed Claire's foundation color out 3 times. I had held Lori Cole triplets and petted her dog and acted like I like animals. I had done all those things with these people, and so they were my sheep. I wasn't afraid of leading the team that I created. And that's when I really coined the phrase, you just get there and then you figure it out. I put my issues in a prayer box and I was obedient. Remember, I didn't look back. My history is too painful. My future is too scary, but I was obedient to just do the work to get the numbers. You get the people and you get the production, and you're a director. You don't have to take the job. Did you know that? It's not mandatory. You can stay a consultant the rest of your life. And so I just blocked out the noise, focused on the purpose was to save my family. I really believed that it would. The rest of the story is, it didn't change my husband or my family, but it changed me, which changed everything. That's where that story is. And honestly, I did the same thing, and maybe some of you, I was a director for decades because I was afraid of being a national. And that's because the nationals I knew were not like me. It doesn't matter why or how, and it wasn't even probably truth, but my perception were they were ivory tower people. And I didn't want to lose my friends I didn't want those people to be my best friends. I loved my director friends. I loved the top director trips. I just didn't think about that other one. But then guess what? I was backstage. It was a decision. It was in 1999. We had been #1 unit in 1998. You build the unit. Do you see what I mean? Same story. You get there and then you figure it out. I had tapped it out just like I did as a consultant. I had tapped it out as a director, did the million, was #1. And I was at the second year we were #1. I stood backstage and said, I'm ready to crown the queen. I don't want to be the queen anymore, because I had built the team. They were my team and I was ready to lead them. And we debuted as a national area. And now we've been Inner Circle 13 times. But you have a greater legacy than I do with Stacy, because she saw the vision of leadership early on as a consultant, as a director, and as a national sales director. And you've had that modeled. And I did the best I could with where I was in my leadership all of these years. I needed every ribbon. I needed every Star Consultant Prize. I needed the journey exactly as it was for me. But your journey doesn't have to be that way. If I had it to do over, I would have become a national sales director a long time ago. But my insecurity kept me in a safe place, a comfort zone. There really is no comfort in a comfort zone. Is that the answer?
Yes. It's perfect. It was so good. I love that. Okay, so I think we have time if anybody has a shout out or a question for Cindy. Nobody?
I'll say something.
Okay.
Cindy, I have said this to you before, but I deeply admire your authenticity. What you have is what we need in a time such as this. We need people who are authentic. We need people who are unafraid to say, this is what I was and this is who I became, and I didn't see this, I only knew this. So my question to you is, when you made that shift and you said, I want to crown the queen, not be the queen, what did you do differently to begin building directors versus just building the unit?
It was just like I was the DIQ. I'd already built them. I just had to shift. But I remember, go back, unit size matters. I had built a big unit. So I'd never had a trip director. Okay. So look, Mary Kay thought I was debuting weak, by the way. But I told them, just, as long as I do everything you tell me to do, are you going to sign my paper? They said, yes. I said, well, you better get your pen out, because I knew in my spirit. But I will tell you too, this is such a good question. I wasn't ready, but I got there, and then I figured it out. And the minute we crossed over, I felt exactly like I did as a new director. I felt very fragile. When I was the new director, I felt so fragile, like, oh my God, these people, how did I get them all? And how am I going to keep them? I felt so fragile, and fragility for me is motivating. So when the minute I crossed over as a national, I was a beast to build my numbers. I understood you debut with 24 consultants to become a director. You debut with about 24 to become a national. And what does Mary Kay say to a brand new director? Don't breathe until you get to 50. That's all I did. I didn't breathe till I got to 50. I blocked out the noise. I didn't understand the ranking for commissions for gold and diamond circle. That was an algebra equation. There's no way I could figure that out. So I didn't even try. Simplify to simply fly. I knew if I get to 50, that's what Mary Kay said to do. So I got 4 first lines the first year, 4 first lines the second year as a national, and we grew to 50 really fast. When we had taken us 18 years to get to 24. Do you see the difference in the mindset? That was this, my history has been identical. Consultantship, directorship, national sales directorship. I wish I could break through that bondage of not feeling adequate, but I focused in on the daily work. And then I also went to every new director's debut that next 2 years, no matter where they live, because that was my only focus, was numbers of directors in our area would build strength. And my fear of being fragile was hugely motivating. And then I adjusted again over, I've been a national now 20 years. But that's a good question. That was an excellent question. I had already built the numbers. The numbers, no matter how wonderful you are, how bad you want it, you got to have the people. And I started with that. A consultant, and I will tell you this, make sure you know this. I think you do, but the scoreboard is not a reflection of your value or your worth. The scoreboard is a reflection of the choices you've made or allowed other people to make for you. You're valuable and valued because of who you are and whose you are. So don't tie your value to the color of your car, the color of your jacket, or your history. Who cares? Those of you that have longevity, you need to talk about it. You need to say, I've been in America for 20 years. I've invested time, talent, and treasure in learning the business, learning leadership, learning the product. You have a great coach. Come and be on my team. Longevity matters. Don't say, well, I've been in 20 years and I'm still not a national. That's the victim. Don't say I've done. Don't even, that's a scarcity mentality, and you're going to attract scarcity people. Sell yourself on longevity. And if you're brand new, sell that too. I joined on Monday, earned a car on Wednesday, and became a director on Friday. But whatever you got, sell it, sister, because the audience will receive whatever you believe. Does that help?
Thank you so much. You are such a gift. We love you. That was perfect.
Well, it's so simple. I mean, do you know what I mean? I don't know how to do advanced color application. I just know darker and more. And I don't know what advanced leadership means. You got to get some people. You got to find a need and fill it. You got to book a party and transfer the skills.
I love it.
And also, Darren, last week, his thing on selling was so good. He talked about after he asked her to marry him, then he took her to this beautiful place, and he resold. We all have buyer's remorse. So on the front end, you influence the influencers, you bring your A game, you deliver. And then on the back end, you resell them. And I've been really good about that too. I was thinking, I've sent a thank you card in the mail to every person that bought a product from me my entire life. I'm in the mail, because when you have the money, you got to either do the credit card or do the check or do the ProPay or something. Well, that info is in front of you. You got your postcards or your cards, it doesn't matter. And you say, Dear Claire, thank you for buying your pink diamond lip gloss for me. I know you have a choice and you support my small business. It makes a difference. Love, Cindy. I hit them in the heart and I mail it so they get it. And that brand new consultant, you better love on her, because she's having buyer's remorse and she's going to keep having it. You got to, 21 days to create a habit. I think for about 21 days, you stay on her like glue. You push her to be exposed. then you let her go. I don't go back and get them. I don't drag people. It doesn't bring me joy to say eat when you're not hungry. It gives me great joy. A little bird says, feed me, feed me. I love to feed. Okay, launch hard, close, resell them, and then model for them what to do.
Love it. Okay. Anyone else? I'm looking for hands.
Hey, it's Jackie, and I'm in my car. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Cindy, I just wanted to say how much I always appreciate that the DNA, the do not argue, and that you always are yourself, and you always give me belief that I can do more. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Shelby's, you've asked this a couple times, but you're doing it to me by I don't know if you realize it. Shelby's asking, what were your daily non-negotiables?
I don't have a routine. I don't want to schedule. I've never planned booking coaching calls in my life at a certain day. I say the mentee must chase the mentor. And so I always answer my phone. I turn over my sounds off at night. Only you play that do not disturb so your kids or your elderly parents can get through, but nobody else can. So people can box me, text me, call me anytime. You know, you've just got it's a different season now, but as a consultant, I had a retail selling goal I never missed. So no matter what, you look and see what that goal is going to look like, whether it's $1,000 a week or $100, it doesn't matter. But you set the goal and you're non-negotiable, because then you be accountable to yourself. If you cry wolf and cry wolf and cry wolf and you don't hit it, you don't believe yourself anymore. And that's the biggest tragedy of all. Set a dang goal you can hit. And then also with have 5 by the 15th, 5 agreements in if you're a sales director. Because 10, you got to have some people new. So play the game with yourself, 5 by the 15th, and give yourself a present. Or whatever motivates you. Got it? But you do have to have accountability. My accountability or my daily, I've always I eat smart. You know, my mom never said, she said, don't eat anything white. Of course I do, but she said, no white sugar, no white flour, no white rice. My mom was just super simple. You didn't have to do a calendar or something. And she was fit and beautiful. So I'm common sense, you know, does this get me closer to my faith walk? Does it get me closer to my family or my career goals? And I trim the fat and I said no to everything that doesn't. But I've added in the middle, you know, God, health, family, career, wealth. And it's not just how much we make. It's what we do with it. Like I'm paying off my mortgage next week for this house that just bought it a year ago. But that's a goal because I actually kind of needed the write-offs because of my income from Mary Kay, and I take a percentage of the house for deductible. But I talked to my CPA, and the money I'm saving by having it a deductible, I'm paying $1,600 a month in interest alone. And I thought, that's crazy, not even going to principal. So no matter how much I'm saving, it's not $1,600 a month. So I'm just going to pay it off. I'm just giving you examples of, I just got my first Louis Vuitton bag. Mary Kay gave it to us. That's just for Cindy Williams. I like cash. I love stability, and you know, I love supporting my SCP. You know, you're self-employed, so you can put money in every single year that counts towards your, I don't know, something, but you don't get taxed on it. So I've got a wad of cash in that. So that's just what I love. But I grew up so unstable that financial security is really important to me. So I've lived small my whole life, so I could be secure. Not that I want more with anything. I love my little house. But I do like security. So those are my daily habits now. Really now, I just really want my people to tap it out before I'm gone, because it will be different. Even though I'll always be available to them, my axe won't be as sharp because I won't be in the heat of things. And also to be an ambassador for the company. I feel responsible, joyfully responsible for that, that Mary Kay's changed my life. I shudder to think where I would be without my Mary Kay influence. And mostly it's the friends. It wasn't Mary Kay, the company. It's the circle of influence, the people. So I would just encourage you, if you haven't earned a top director trip, That was always my bottom bar. Well, maybe that was a healthy. I knew exactly what I had to do every single month. And I never did that chart 15% increase. I don't understand that. I always tried to hit it July 1. Okay. And I knew exactly what 42K is going to do. The 1,027,833 is the trip. 25K is 500,000. I know because I had it tattooed on my brain all my life. And I got out of the gate strong. I knew if I didn't hit the goal July, I better make it up in August. And I always had to kill it in June. That's just normal. But my bottom bar, and I didn't miss that trip. I hit the trip every year but once since 1987. Just so you know, that was for me, that's a good example of a habit. Whatever it took, if I had to hold 20 parties or not a one, if the unit was strong, you run with the unit. If the unit's not, you run with yourself because you got to hit the number, people. It's not fairy tale land, you know? You got to hit the number. So that was a daily habit of whatever it took to get to the goal. And that adjusted daily based on where I was in my career and my life. Does that make sense? Is that a good answer? Do y'all hear me on that? It's non-negotiable to miss the trip because what was on the trip? Do you think I cared where we went? Do you think I cared what hotel we stayed in? What did I care about? Cindy Williams had to change. I wanted to grow into all God created me to be. And I had to change the way I felt about me, change the way I thought. And I knew when I changed my circle of influence, it would change me. And it did. That was the key. I was fanatically disciplined for the trip. Fanatically disciplined. Because it's simple, gang. You get a unit that can produce the production. And that's all on you. You get your people launched hard. You get them to get their pearls. They move into their red. They're consistent star consultants. Now the unit is swelling and growing. And when they, for a minute, slowed down, I put the coach in the game. And I could get that gold medal, get those new people running. And now I'm not discouraged because these people aren't running. I'm no savior. I'm a soldier. What y'all want to do with it is up to you. That has nothing to do with me. I can only lead and love, lead and love, lead and love. That's it. I don't know how to do anything else. So I was earning the trip. And then you become a national, you get the trip it's like frapping awesome. Then you become inner circle. I've been 13 times. That means 13 weeks I got to spend with the best people in the whole world, just me and them. Woo, I talk about, say happy camper. This girl's happy camper. And inner circle weekend and all the things we've gotten to do. Y'all are highly favored. That Stacy's your NSD. You've tapped it out. Y'all got exposure to the best of the best. So take advantage. She's not that young either. Okay. This is my final year, but you only have a few more years with her. So if I were you, I'd become a national, and I only got a couple more trips. So if you want to hang out with me, and I'm really fun, you ought to go on become a national before I'm out of here. Friday, McKittrell.
Yay. Thank you so much, Cindy. Oh my gosh. It's always such an honor to have you with us. Always, always love you so much. We all do.
I know. I love you too. And we love you, Claire. Without you, we couldn't have done all this.
Thank you. So for us, for James area, you guys 10 this week again, knowing that our real goal is at least 40, right? And we have 8 days left. So there's still plenty of time. So much can happen in the next 8 days.
Oh yeah. August is important to our year end. Pretend like it's June. It does. I mean, I'm just telling you, August is really important. Even if you, and I will just be honest, we have not had a great August in our area this month. August has been different, but I don't care whatever it takes. You don't do your best. You do whatever it takes. Get your little heinies off that seat and go play. Put yourself in the game, people. Don't try to motivate your unit. Come on. Talk about exhausting. Go lead the unit. Lead the unit across the victory line, okay? And another little tip, do your 600 on the first of the month and get I couldn't find my joy. This was a crazy morning. But do your 600 at the first of the month so you get your necklace and your earrings, and I already got what's coming for next month. So you can wear it, promote it all month. I've had my white necklace on and those earrings, but I just couldn't find them this morning. But that's important. That's a healthy habit. Because maybe you're waiting till the end of the month to see how much you might need. That's a scarcity mentality. You're going to do more than 6 anyway, people. Come on. So do the 6 August 1 or September 1. Then you do more. Does that make sense? So the jewelry, they're giving it free. Promote what the company's doing. And show your Star Consultant prizes. It's the simple things that motivate our unit members, all right, I could talk to y'all all day. As you can tell, I'm addicted to being with you too. This is not a burden. Thank you for asking me, Stacy, and for letting me just pass on before my candle is out. I want to make it burn as brightly as possible. And the gift back to me is go make this an audacious August. A gift to your national. Don't just listen. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. You're only blessed to be a blessing. If you don't bless, then you just blow up like a big old frog or something. So now go be a blessing to some new people. Okay.